So when you think of Valentine's Day, your brain probably goes straight to, the icons. You've got the candy hearts,
The chalky ones.
the chalky ones, yeah, let's be honest, and the
You
paper
think?
cutouts, the emotional heart, love, romance. But for our deep dive today, we're going to take a hard left turn from all that.
Away from the greeting card aisle.
Exactly. We're going to look at the biology.
Oh.
Because there's this darker question sort of lurking under all the red foils, isn't there?
It's a question most people definitely do not want to be asking while they're, eating a box of chocolates.
Right. But we have to. We know intense emotion affects the body, stress affects the body. So is this holiday, which is basically a pressure cooker of romance and bad food choices, is it actually hard on your real beating biological heart?
It's a totally valid fear. We tend to separate our emotional lives from our physical health, like they exist in two different buildings. But they're so linked.
Inextricably.
And the medical community has known for a while that holidays are, well, they're stress tests for the cardiovascular system. So the question is, does Valentine's Day trigger myocardial infarctions?
Or, in plain English, heart attacks.
Heart attacks.
And to answer that, we're not just guessing. We are digging into a massive piece of research today. We've got a study here called Matters of the Heart.
Right. This was published in CJC Open back in 2021 by Dr. Natalie Auger and her team up in Quebec.
And when I say massive, I mean this is not a small sample size.
No, this is high-level epidemiology. They looked at data over a 30-year period.
30 years.
From 1989 to 2019, they analyzed 51,450 adults who had a heart attack. So, yeah, this isn't just a handful of stories. It's a huge data set.
50,000 people. Wow. And honestly, when I first saw this, I had a very clear expectation. Do you hear about holiday heart, right? This idea that we eat too much, drink too much, and our bodies just kind of give up.
Well, holiday heart syndrome is a real medical term, actually. It usually refers to atrial fibrillation from binge drinking. But yeah, the general idea holds up.
Okay.
The research shows that holidays are what some people call a neglected determinant of health.
That sounds ominous.
It is, but it's true. I mean, there's so much research completely separate from this study showing heart attack rates spike during big celebrations. In Sweden, they see it during Christmas, New Year's, even their midsummer holiday.
And it's not just a Western thing, is it?
Not at all. We see similar spikes during Islamic holidays, Chinese holidays. The culture is different, but the triggers are basically the same.
Okay, so let's break those down. Because it's not just, I got a bad gift and had a heart attack right away. What's actually happening in the body?
It's usually a kind of perfect storm of three things. First, there's the excessive alcohol.
Okay.
It raises your blood pressure. It can cause arrhythmias. Second, you have just gluttony. The heavy, rich, salty meals.
The classic food coma.
It's more than that. When you eat a huge meal, your body has to work so hard to digest it. It pulls a ton of blood flow to your gut.
Right.
That actually makes your heart rate go up. It puts a real strain on the whole system. If you already have some blockages, that can be the tipping point.
I never thought of digestion as a workout for your heart. Okay, so booze, big meals. What's number 3?
Acute emotional stress. The financial pressure, family fights, travel, all that stress releases cortisol and adrenaline.
The fight or flight stuff.
Exactly. And that constricts your blood vessels, makes your heart work harder. So you put those three things together.
And if you apply that to Valentine's Day, it seems like it checks all the boxes. You've got the pressure, the expensive dinner, the wine.
Precisely. That was the researchers' hypothesis. They assumed Valentine's would follow the same dangerous pattern. They were looking for the spike.
And they were looking for it on a specific day. Right. February 15th.
Yeah, the day after.
Why not the night of?
It's about the cascade. If you have that big meal and the drinks on the evening of the 14th, the actual heart attack often happens later that night or early the next morning when your body is processing everything.
The morning after effect.
That's it. So the 15th is the real window into what happened on Valentine's Day.
Okay, so before we get to what they found,
Yeah.
how do you even measure this? I mean, people have heart attacks every day. How do you prove it was the holiday?
This is where the science gets really clever. They used a method called a case crossover design.
Okay.
In a normal study, you might compare Group A to Group B, but that's messy, The groups might be different in 100 other ways.
Too many variables. You're comparing apples to oranges.
Exactly. So in a case crossover, you don't compare two groups. You compare the person to themselves.
Okay, walk me through that.
So let's say you had a heart attack on February 15th. That's the case day. The researchers then look for control days. They'll look at the same day of the week and other weeks of February that year.
So they're checking if I was more likely to have a heart attack on the Wednesday after Valentine's versus just a normal Wednesday in my life.
You got it. And because you're comparing you to you, all the other stuff, your genetics, your diet, your health issues, it all cancels out. It isolates the effect of the holiday.
That is smart. It gets rid of all the noise. Speaking of noise, there was one little detail in this study I loved. They had to cut out a whole city, right?
They did. They ran a separate analysis excluding Quebec City. And the reason is pure culture.
It's the winter festival, the carnival.
A Carnival de Quebec, yeah. It's a huge party happening at the exact same time. Lots of drinking. There's a specific drink called caribou, which is like red wine and whiskey.
In the freezing cold.
In the freezing cold.
Yeah.
Which is another known trigger for heart attacks. So they couldn't tell if an event was caused by a romantic dinner or by, drinking caribou in a snowbank.
I love that. They're trying to isolate romance versus partying in the snow. Okay, so we have the hypothesis. Valentine's is dangerous. We have the method, you versus you. Let's get to the verdict. What happened on February 15th?
This is where it gets really surprising. Despite everything, the booze, the food, the stress Valentine's Day did not cause a spike in heart attacks.
I didn't.
In fact, for some people, it seems to have prevented them.
Hang on, prevented them. You mean it actually lowered the risk?
We're talking about a protective effect, yes. The data showed a statistically significant decrease in heart attacks on February 15th.
Wow. Okay, give me the numbers. Who is getting saved by Cupid here?
It's mostly men. When they compared the 15th to the control days, men had an odds ratio of 0.91.
Okay, break that down for me. What does that number mean?
So an odds ratio of 1.0 would mean no difference. Anything under 1 is a reduction. So 0.91 is about a 9% reduction in the risk of having a heart attack.
9%. That's not nothing. That's a real measurable impact.
It's huge. And there's an age factor, too. This was driven almost entirely by men under 65.
Ah, so it's the younger guys.
For that group, the odds ratio dropped even more, down to 0.87.
So young and middle-aged men are the big winners. What about women?
So this is where it gets a little tricky. The numbers for women showed a very similar trend. For women under 65, the odds ratio was 0.85.
Wait, 0.85 is an even bigger drop than the men got.
It is, but it wasn't statistically significant.
Why not?
It's probably a sample size issue, which is far fewer women under 65 have heart attacks compared to men their age. So even in this massive data set, there weren't quite enough cases to mathematically prove the effect. But the trend...
The trend looks the same.
The trend looks exactly the same. The biology seems to be working for everyone.
Okay, so a strong signal for men, a likely one for women. But what happens when you get older? The over 75 crowd.
The effect completely vanishes. For people over 75, Valentine's Day looks just like any other day.
And why is that? Is love only for the young?
I don't think it's that. But the author suggests, older adults might not celebrate this holiday as intensely, and demographically, they're more likely to be widowed or single.
That's a sobering thought.
It is. And, physically, an older person is just more sensitive to the negative effects of a big meal or alcohol. So for the younger folks, the love outweighs the lasagna. For the older folks, the lasagna wins.
The lasagna wins. That's a great movie title.
It is, but it's accurate physiology.
Okay, this brings us to the why. This is what I really want to know. If Christmas kills and New Year's kills, why does Valentine's Day save?
What is flipping the script here?
The researchers proposed 3 main mechanisms, and they're fascinating. The first one is just social support and romance.
The warm and fuzzies. Is that actually biological, though?
Oh, absolutely. Warm and fuzzies have a biological correlate. Feeling connected, feeling loved.
Yeah.
It's cardioprotective. It lowers your stress hormones, like cortisol.
And if you contrast that with Christmas, Christmas is often about obligation. Family arguments, travel stress, that's bad stress. Valentine's Day, when it's going well, is about connection. It's a buffer.
Okay, so love is a stress buffer. What's number 2?
The chocolate defense.
I knew it. I knew chocolate had to be good for something.
Specifically dark chocolate. It's full of flavonoids.
Okay, what do those do?
They help lower blood pressure. They improve how well your blood vessels work by increasing something called nitric oxide.
And that does what?
Nitric oxide basically tells your blood vessels to relax and widen, which improves blood flow. And since chocolate is such a common gift, it's possible there's this mild population-wide effect happening.
I'm choosing to believe that 100%. Eat chocolate, save your heart. What's the third one?
Physical intimacy. The study specifically brings up that sexual activity is more common on Valentine's Day.
The old cardio workout.
It's not just the cardio, it's a huge stress reliever. It releases oxytocin, the bonding hormone, and endorphins. So you have this trifecta.
Emotional bonding, better blood flow from chocolate, and the hormones from intimacy. That's a powerful cocktail.
It really is.
But I have to push back on the food part. People still go out for big dinners. Why doesn't that cancel everything out?
That's a great point. And the consensus seems to be that, yes, people indulge, but it's a mild indulgence compared to other holidays.
You mean it's just one night?
It's just one night. Christmas isn't one dinner. It's a week of parties, leftovers, drinking, no sleep. It's a sustained assault on your system. Valentine's Day is more of a sprint than a marathon.
That makes sense. Okay, this all sounds incredibly positive. But I know you. What did the study miss? There have to be limitations.
There are, and one of them is actually pretty big. The study didn't know the relationship status of the patients.
Oh, that is a huge missing piece.
It is. The data is from hospital records. It just tells us who had a heart attack, not if they were happily married or single and lonely.
So the lonely people are mixed in with the happy couples in the data.
Correct. And think about what that implies.
Well, if the theory is that romance saves you, then single people shouldn't get the benefit. They might even be more stressed out that day.
Exactly. So if you're finding a protective effect for the whole population, despite including all the potentially stressed out single people,
then the effect for the actual couples
right,
might be even stronger than what the data shows.
It could be, yeah. It suggests the romance effect is actually pretty potent.
That's a really good point. But there's another critique, right? The delayed visit theory.
Ah, yes. The cynic's view.
What's that?
It's the idea that maybe people did feel chest pain, but they didn't want to ruin the date. You know, honey, my arm is numb, but let's wait till after dessert.
That sounds crazy, but I can see people doing that.
People do it all the time.
Yeah.
But the researchers looked for this. If people were just delaying their hospital visit, you'd expect a huge spike on February 16th or 17th.
Rebound effect.
A rebound, exactly. And they didn't find one.
So they didn't say,
Nope. The numbers were flat. That tells us the reduction on the 15th was real. The heart attacks didn't just get postponed, they seem to have actually been prevented.
That's pretty definitive then. It really does suggest that the day itself did something to the biology of these men.
It does, and it just reinforces that our biology isn't an island. It's responding to our social world in real time. Our blood vessels, our heart rates, they're all listening.
So to bring this all home, we started with the fear that Valentine's Day might be killing us. But the science says the opposite. At least if you're a man under 65, and probably women too, this is one of the safest days of the year for your heart.
It's this rare, fascinating exception to the holiday heart rule. It shows that while chronic stress can kill, acute connection can heal.
So what's the so what here for our listeners? I mean, obviously don't wait until Valentine's Day to take care of your heart.
No, of course not. But the bigger point is about the power of these social mechanisms. We look for health in a pill bottle or at the gym, but this data shows that love and intimacy have a tangible, measurable impact. A 9% reduction across a population. Any drug company would kill for a number like that.
That's a great way to put it. If this was a new drug, it would be a blockbuster.
It would be on every commercial. Doctors would be writing scripts for it every single day.
So as we wrap up, what's the final thought you want to leave us with?
You know, I want to leave you with a provocation. We've seen that one single day of focused romance and connection can measurably drop the heart attack rate.
Yeah.
It just makes me wonder what would happen to our whole healthcare system if we treated social connection as a daily medical necessity instead of just a holiday novelty?
You mean like prescribing a date night?
Why not? What if we prescribe dinner with a loved one with the same seriousness that we prescribe statins? We track our steps, we track our calories. Maybe we should be tracking our connection because clearly the heart knows the difference.
That is definitely something to chew on. Maybe the best prescription is a little less isolation and a little more conversation.
And maybe just a little bit of dark chocolate.
Absolutely. Thanks for listening to this deep dive. We'll catch you on the next one. Stay curious and take care of that heart.